whatever it is, wherever you are. So there's two things that are going on. One is that I've had occasion to look at Google Lighthouse, which is a web scoring and reporting tool, and it's gotten into some cache topics. The other is that my local version of the map is probably going on 24 hours and has not updated yet. Now I know it's published because I noticed it wasn't HTTPS, and I updated this link to go to it, and we've now got our notable objects and things. But this one at HTTP has not updated. And I've turned off disable cache in here so I can actually sort of do this. Actually, what I need to do is get a new tab that only records when it's open. And what's weird about this is that with like an ordinary, that's a not found. We'll have like, request headers and then a response, and we'll have, e tags and last modified and any caching tags that might. Actually, you don't have. Maybe you have to add the caching tags separately for client caching. This is probably locally cached. But there's not like a. Maybe it's doing last modified and. Huh. I missed something around the receipt. So you're getting cached. There's anything in the browser end. But then you've got this page, which has no status code, no request, and consequently, no cache information. So do you have? Yeah, you have no cache information. You're not an object. Last fetched, fetch count, data size. Oh, now you see this has an expires, which actually that might be reasonable for these things which shouldn't change that much. This, yeah, you shouldn't have a 100-year expire either. And you have. Oh, now you see, this would be a not modified. So we actually fetched something here. So I guess there was no cache. This is maybe from the previous caching. And then the document I'm most interested in has diddly squat. I have no request headers. I have no response headers. I have no information in the cache file itself. I have no anything. So that I definitely want to do something about. Separately and possibly relatedly, as you see, so interestingly, it's still defaulting to, because I know the scores are going to complain about this. I know that this is, it's something that's defaulting to HTTP. I mean, it doesn't matter for this. There's no user data at all. Well, I guess technically you could be concerned about interception and people adding malware to the request. But this is a built-in thing. All right, so there are lots of things that are perhaps interesting. And maybe best practices would kind of get into some of the caching stuff, but just to focus for now. And mobile is also interesting, but this is such a heavy app, it's already dubious. Actually. Okay, yeah, Favicon. You know, actually, that's another little thing. I mean, it's just a four because oh, this would probably be cacheable if we did do this. Yeah, and then this is Elm, which and maybe I could make a pass on that sometime. It's kind of an optimization thing too. I actually have been thinking about doing a favicon. I should put that in the features list. Because I think the gold bell might work for that. This is my main target right now, and all of that stuff will be good to look at some point. All right. So these are maybe not great. So properly sized images. Yeah. So all of these. This is one of those things that. I think I've already got a note about this somewhere. Yeah, sprite LOD, sprite sheets. It's going to kind of fall under that. When you use JavaScript, it's a tough one. Maybe I could do custom builds of Leaflet. That's actually not too bad for this. I mean, the JavaScript there could. Oh no, wait, this is the UI, so that's actually Elm, which is not good, or is not too bad. And then this is the JavaScript, which actually is like half of it that's not used. Probably has to do with which layers are active. That's the thing that could be refactored too. The Elm program, probably a little bit tougher, but maybe you could figure out a way to do the sidebar as a separate thing, and then because like you're not showing the sidebar on load usually, and that's like a lot of the view code. Yeah, so then this just is a convenient way to get some of this stuff. So this is all of the stuff to get the main page. I'm not sure that that's going to be terribly... yeah, all the scripts, because it's a JavaScript app. Leaflet. Leaflet. And you see, this is just the script. I don't think it has... Yeah, it's the entire thing. I don't think it really says what task it was. And these might be like world recalculations or something fairly heavy. So this is tough. This is a someday thing. Some of this falls under rendering optimization in general. So this is our only real red flag. This is one of the things I wanted to look at anyway. Yeah, so cache TTL, we might need to do something to actually supply that outgoing besides what we're specifying to CloudFront. Actually, some of these are images, which would also cut down on the size if we were able to optimize them. So cache TTL is one of the things we actually want. Like, let's see, and is this... Cacheable doesn't have an explicit no cache policy. Current cache duration. Yeah, so maybe we're saying durations only for it stay in CloudFront, not for... Yeah, because I thought I was applying headers to things. Yeah, there's 1 year. We've had like 100 year for some things. Changes in freshness matters. You still want to get some of the bits. So caches the resource that sets no cache, but checks with the server first to make sure the resource is still current. Yeah, so this might be what we want for index. or just a short TTL, which on the CloudFront side I think is working. And by the way, what does a standard load of this look like? Okay, so that puts it into the same tab. Network. Oh, no, okay, so disable cache is off. Let's see, do I have to be... Oop. Oh, no, that was the entire... Nope, that was the other thing. That was... We closed this somehow. Where is... There. Which has cleared out the entire network tab. I mean, our cache behavior actually shouldn't be all that different here. Yeah, we're getting like nothing now. I guess it's just saying because it's fully cached. Or maybe because it's open here. So you're at least telling me what the properties of this thing are. You don't have a cache tab, though. Disable cache to see full headers, yeah. So this was a cached response. E-tag, last modified. Yeah, that's it. So it is caching it. I don't really have any information on expiration other than, like, maybe check that. But I don't know what the heck Firefox is doing. Yeah, from disk cache. From memory, from disk. Well, I've set some cache parameters, but I guess I'm not sure whether they are the parameters used for the origin source or given to browsers. And what I'm seeing so far is that it's not giving anything to browsers. And then Firefox is just kind of misbehaving. Okay, memory cache, disk cache. Yeah, so maybe cache control. I think we need to add that. That might be like an add header versus a cache properties type of thing. Okay, this is a specific that don't contain versioning info. Last modified. Well, these two we have. So it might be cache control. Only for your HTML documents. Versions URLs. Yeah, okay, yeah, these are fully versioned things, so they can have long expirations. Our data is mostly static, but I've occasionally had to fix up issues. And then I just haven't wanted to add the build process to do versioned assets yet. Yeah, so this is very prescriptive. Never use the cached copy if there is a response. So that might be appropriate for like index and a few other things. But it doesn't really. I mean, I guess having, what should it probably look like is pretty good. Oh, and this was the other one. And these are in fact the key ones. More in-depth and conceptual. Okay, so CloudFront is being good about these. We don't have any cache control information. Must revalidate. Never store. Well, I mean, we generally want CloudFront at least storing things. Browser can cache the file. Can be stored by any cache. E-tag or less modified. It's basically coming down to the same couple of things are a good start. No cache. Must be revalidated. I don't think anything should be no store. I mean, I think what I've been doing is like a 1-day time to allow for some expiration. I'd almost need to be able to include some sort of like cache version in the URL scheme to do the data that way. No caching, cache but revalidate, which is a little confusing. Book in private, expiration. Cache must verify the status of the sale resources before using it. Expired ones should not be used. I'm not storing anything about the... No, that's no store. Before releasing a cached copy. But that might allow it to reuse it if like it can't reach the server or something. The difference between those is not clear. I think it's just the expired one should not be used. Tags last modified. Varying in blah. All right, so it kind of comes down to that. So Let's see. Well, it'd probably be experimenting there that has different settings, and I'm now curious. Let's see. So, tiles is one thing, you're one thing. You don't have the actual origin path. That's the behavior, right? Yeah, cache policy. Yeah, this is supposed to be 1 hour. Maximum TTL. So this must be from the origin server, because we're not setting a TTL at all. Or any kind of... I guess TTL is kind of the max age cache control. Oop. So that's TTL settings. Okay, I did turn these on. I don't know if they're being used. So maybe it's not cache policy? Origin request policy. Oh, it also has to be turned on here, and I probably want to test this on my sort of staging server first. So how do we set cache control? Controlling the cache key. Cache control to provide cache revalidation functionality. Cache hit fresh. Cache populated. Origin fetches the data along with 2 additional headers. So does that mean I have to do this at S3? And the CDN validates the data. You're not modified. Cache control max age. Cache control max age. So do you only store origin headers for that? Based on request headers. To base caching on. Headers that returns to viewer. Forward and cache headers do not affect which headers returns to the viewer. Returns all the headers it gets in the origin with a few exceptions. Removes or updates. Set cookie, trailer, transfer, upgrade via... Oh, so maybe the other stuff is coming from the origin server. So I have to configure S3 to do this, is what it looks like. So then my problem is, what do headers do when you replace the file? S3 cache control. This is with a specific tool. Set headers. Now, how does that work when you update the file? For an existing file, document, this is specific for Kendra. Object updates, metadata index. Content length. You're editing object. Create a copy of the object updated setting in the last modified date. That's for versioning. Editing metadata value updates values for existing key names. What? How does this work when you replace the object? Retaging original last modified. Uploading a file from a computer to... that kind of last modified. Customizing last modified value as per the documentation. Metadata. Get the metadata of an existing object. Oh, this might be it. Update older with a new... It removes the metadata of the file. Not a property of the key. So in order to set these these kind of properties, we would have to replace everything. Let's see. Can we have cloud front add headers? Adding custom headers to origin requests. Enabling cross-origin request sharing. Create or update a distribution. So that's not a behavior. Which means I might not be able to do it on a per path basis. Comment. So header names and values in the origin. Oh, origin custom headers. Oh, that can't add to origin requests. Oh, these are sends to your origin. I don't care about that. Maybe they mean responses too. No, I mean for the well, even for the code stuff, if we've got the one main file and then we've got all the other files, but I would have to like upload those separately to add custom properties to it. Add header. All right, so I mean, for the one file, that could be part of the play process. Copies the object. Yeah, that won't deal with further updates, though. That might be a script. Sync, copy, copy. Okay, so you sync everything, and then recopy specific files with metadata. Index.html, we're doing like no cache, no store, must revalidate. Cache control, max age. Not what the other documents were saying. Exclude. Yep. Have different effects. Already equals, already equals. So it looks like we just have to be really explicit about during upload, and there's no good way to do this for the static data files. I thought... Yes, this must just be caching to the origin. Yeah, so that's the long TTL, which is basically going to be like all of our... Actually, I'm using... Oh, and then there's a default. Yeah, so you're supposed to be 1 hour. You're supposed to be 1 hour. There's really no reason not to have you up with the others. And actually, did that get pushed below the other PL stuff? And we could almost kind of put the other bustable stuff up there. So the default rule was fine for all the static stuff. I did my own for this for some reason. Maximum default. Oh, is there a difference with default? Versus managed, maximum default. Oh, but mine allows the bus header on it. So for anything that I might want to do that. And the rest of these are the static files that shouldn't generally matter as much. And that covers pretty much everything, so I guess that's just under there. So we've got index.html, which that one we can easily manage. Oh, wait, index. So this one's gonna cover the rest of the code. So yeah, bustable. We've got the code. We've got so these currently get put by the typically I sometimes update these things with S3 command. Under typical operation. And actually, these have not been drastically misbehaving. They usually seem to follow the 1 hour rule pretty well. Those are fetched by code rather than browser defaults, and maybe that's making the difference there. So it looks like we're going to have to use a much fancier deploy command in order to set the metadata properties on S3 on every single file copy. I am really disappointed that you can't change cache headers here. And I actually thought that's what the TTL did. But that's apparently just within CloudFront itself. And can you set default headers for a bucket? Content disposition, it's the header. Entire bucket can only set cache headers. And even then, it can't set very many of them. When uploading files, must change the header, so loop to every object in the bucket and copy it to itself using new headers. And then set content distribution. Upcoming uploading file. Yeah, so I don't know how big a deal this is going to be on like any of the map data. And it seems like we're generally getting cache hits from things. Let's see, so you were that, cache, 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 cache. Okay, yeah, you were not HTTPS, you were HTTPS. That might have forced a refresh. Well, yeah, bunch of cache stuff. So it's not doing that bad. We need to force the refresh in the index to actually see this stuff. And of course, since this thing is apparently cached forever in nowhere with no metadata, you would have to do a force refresh to ever get the new no cache setting. All right, so we can't do anything with CloudFront. Things are as well set up as they can be there. For all of the code stuff, let's see, we had set these up to be sort of default caching optimizable, which Bustable is this thing, so that the default, I think that's a 1 day. And then the maximum is, see, the maximum TTL seems like what it would get from the origin. That would be with a max age directive. But here they're calling it TTL instead of max age. So this comes down to, I guess this is a case we would actually tweak it where we're uploading from. And then we shouldn't have done anything except maybe notes in the main repo. So right now we have a very easy sync everything. And I'm still going to want these kind of headers. Well, I'm still going to want at least one of these, even if I add a build process to do version things. And I've got a deploy script. Well, the problem with rewriting files is easy. Rewriting the references to the files may be a little bit trickier. And this might actually be easier to read online. Exclude glob. All right, so we've got, what are we classifying this as now? Default is max age 1 day. And that's if they're fully versioned. These are not fully versioned. But that's some of the types of stuff we need. So, where do you want your parameters? You want options command parameters. So you would be exclude, let's see, so this is public index.html. And then you would be just that file. Which is really a put at that point. That was public stars, public index.html, so the pathing should stay the same. Add header. Given each to the upload request. Instance that expires or cache control headers. Name value. Does that need to be quoted? Oh, that's using a different argument. Maybe this is AWS versus S3. Yeah, this is AWS. This is AWS. S3 command cache control. Add header. Oh, there's exactly one of the ones we want. So that's for these guys, and this is options. Oop, no, actually, no, that's exclude. Oop. Okay, we want boop, 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 nope. Capital P. And cache control, no cache. And this does resolve to a put. So this is not necessarily going to be conservative. I could do that sync to maybe not upload if it hadn't changed. For now, I actually do want to upload. I see this is not going to update these unless they update right now. We'd have to change that into a put recursive. Okay, not too many files there. Okay, this I may have loaded recently. Yeah, you didn't even request index. It's like, it's not even on here. Oh. No, that's a different, that's an index.txt. Yeah, did not even request it. Last modified. Okay. And I guess the other thing, the other stuff was like so far cached that it didn't even ask for it. Oh, no, because I went to, because that was a refresh. All right, so now we do, and yeah, didn't even ask, even though it should now be no cache. Maybe because it's still in browser memory. And then these are things that got like fetched by script. Oh, yeah, max age doesn't even make sense if it's no cache. So we saw that when it got requested, it had a no cache header. Maybe was it a malformed no cache header? Okay, so that's generic information. It's not really saying, I mean, if you recognize it as that header. And this one doesn't have cache information on it. You see, like you do. And this expires information is not reassuring here. What does your headers look like? Cache control max age. Yeah, so this apparently has nothing to do with the browser information. This is like the file cache. Like, it should be able to get that information. Maybe that was for the previously cached value? Is it possible we still have a previously cached value that doesn't include that, and that's what it's using? Yeah, this might also force CloudFront to do a refresh, and it'll be good for updates. We kind of have to wait till the next update to actually see this here. So we've duplicated this. Means we have to duplicate this thing, so we need to look into the variables sometime. So this is an unnecessary update, but it should get us set up better for next time. And then we can put all of these back to sync to only update what needs to be updated. All right, so that might be, well, short of going back to all of our data and reprocessing those many, well, I want to say thousands, but probably at least an order of magnitude more than that, to put like a max age of some sort on there. And that's one of the things I'm really, on the CloudFront side, I can do an invalidation. But if browsers are caching things for a year and I find I need to reprocess something, it gets a little awkward. We are seeing some caching behavior there. That was the other thing that was weird. It's like we've got a default TTL, but it definitely wasn't even doing that. All right, so now, all of this stuff, let's see, so these caching policies are caching enabled, but I think that, is it origin? It must be behavior. Let's see, and you are, I think we want to experiment with the stage first. All right, and oh, you don't have seeds to file. And I cannot copy this. Oh, these are on legacy cache settings too. Did I never come in here and edit these? All right, so did I have one for this? Because I think you were like, wait, were you? That's like 1 hour. Okay, well, this is for data. That's probably fine. It is, oh, you have nothing special for index too, but your default here is like 1 hour. This is like 10 minutes. Yeah, so caching just totally disabled. Did I have a comment on those? Now, what is this? It stays in the CloudFront cache. Okay, yeah, so this is stay in CloudFront caches. Okay, yeah, so this is CloudFront only. See, this is a query string. Oh, okay. That was an input box for a list. And we need to refresh. Origin request. Oh. Oh, this is still a policy? So what's the difference? Includes in requests that it sends to the origin. Well, and we're not doing anything, any particular amount of caching on the origin. So there's TTLs, there's headers, cookies, querying strings, cache key includes. Yeah, so I don't know. Well, we need a policy there. Separate from cache policies, which control the cache keys. Receive additional information at the origin and also maintain a good cache hit ratio. Which information is included in origin requests? So maybe by default it's excluding parameters and things. Add additional HTTP to the origin request. They're not included in the viewer request. In viewer requests, all viewer headers and whitelisted CloudFront headers, all viewer headers, cookies, origin request policies. Am I saying, I guess, just adding viewer headers. All right, so this is, oh. Now you see that this is, I wanted to experiment with this on the staging server. There's like default. Oh no, that's okay. No, that was not the cache policy. That was this. But we still have. Right, these had no cache policies. So you were 1 hour for data. And then enable compression is a separate thing. That we're interested in testing. You are object caching. Use origin cache headers. Oh, so does customize? Which I was doing to set these times. Not past the... Oh no, we were getting no cache in our other thing. Let's see, so this was tiles. And these are graphics that might not even apply to this. Let's see. So static is going to be images again. Use origin, which is basically going to be nothing. Oh, actually, that was data. That didn't need to be bustable. Actually, that probably is right. It's only going to work for things it works for. All right, so you were using defaults. You were using defaults. Oh, maybe I was experimenting with that on there. This is data, which is going to change. Like, this is going to include monuments. And there's default, which this is going to be 10-minute. And I guess, yeah, actually, I'm not necessarily using a different time for index here. I would, yeah. This, we should have seeds here too. Casting optimize, so you are 1 hour bustable. All right, so you are updating now. And I might have to, well, because it updated, that might take care of stuff in the CloudFront cache itself. All right, let's see, where is properly sized images, unused, it's gonna be a tough one. Yeah, so TTL none, and that is, well, the sprites is an easier one to fix. That's not as many objects. We've also got some of these. So we can take care of some of the code stuff. That probably is an S3 command again. I don't remember if that's a sync or a put. For the sprite stuff. And while these sprites do update sometimes, they're probably could be relatively long-lived because we're mostly just adding new objects. Well, I guess that is an entirely different thing to work on. So I've been using the online system to do that. Okay, so that's your update. Maybe I'm using a separate S3 upload for the action. Oh, Are you GitHub? Are you what we're using? Run S3 command. So these aren't any. See, there's also this also has the objects JSON. Which is probably going to be a little bit more volatile than or when there's a new object, you would need the information about it versus the images, which once uploaded are not likely to change as likely to change. And this is a sync just in case anything stays the same. Although to update them, we're going to have to do it as a put once. And maybe this is a case where I just do this from here. We still have to run the sync, but this has to get committed, so. Oh, and this thing won't generally run until there's a version update. Can you do, I think run only does one command. All right, so absent updating that stuff. And I know it'll complain if it's not HTTPS in the report. All right, performance, we're only concerned desktop right now. Oh, I guess I could have checked just plain old network. Now you see, we still got all, that came out much better, but we still have all the sprites and data files. Oh, okay. I guess they don't consider one day efficient. Actually, the fact that that's 1 day. This is probably the origin header. Now, because that's what I would have, that's what the bucket default would have. But I thought behaviors. Oop. Oh, I didn't save this. So that might, I think that the ordering was the only thing there, but actually that probably affects you as well. Oh, do we have the note about efficient cast policy? Whereas this one, properly sized images, actually this doesn't have, this isn't calling out, no, we didn't change. Efficient cast policy, remove unused JavaScript. Yeah, this one actually doesn't have the compression stuff, or a note about it. We did, however, appear to load. That would actually come down to a network thing, so we'd have to do a force reload. Well, I mean, even the version in the cache might have cache information. Oh. That was very efficient caching. Oh, you have a search filter on. Okay, cache control, no cache. You guys. Cache control, max age. But this is 2map code. So you're not updating that header. I did want to check. Well, this is just organization, but so yeah, if you were below PL, that would be a problem. Seeds don't change very often, but it could be a small problem. So we didn't do a special for index. So everything's under here. This is 10-minute bustable. 10-minute bustable says, well, this does have TTL settings. And these are, oh no, these are different policies. No, those are just monitoring. Oops, policies, cache policies, origin request policies. Elemental, origin with custom cores, S3 origin with cores, all parameters, forge user agent and refer headers. These sound like things you use for specific purposes. Whitelist origin. Oop. Access control request, access control request. Well, this is a cache policy. Ah, yep. Headers, cookies, query strings, name, comment. So one thing we could do is, yeah, this is dist. So we're actually going to upload different headers to stage, since it is different buckets. I think I'd intentionally put a small amount of caching on staging just so I could observe the effect. But if we're just going to say no cache, that will hopefully take care of it. And then this is a case where we were doing sync. So to update the thing, we have to, and there are things I think to just update the metadata. This is kind of a quick fix for small numbers of files. So we have to set all of this at our origin. So the real pain is going to be the data. Now, we're initially getting dinged. Well, that's probably just the top of the list, but we're initially getting dinged for the sprites, so that would be a place to be looking. I think we've done as much as we can here right now. We want to make sure we get that over to our other one. All right, so I think we can pull this and it'll just keep the changes. Yep. So for a degree of testing of commands and going through and updating all of the files, we could do the local one. I have been updating this personally for a while. Yeah, so that is sync all of that stuff up to there. I might want to do objects differently, because we do download it in the map. It is used to affect display of things. If we had an update where there was a new object, that could be a little bit annoying. So I guess the arguments do work after here. If it doesn't take too long, that doesn't really hurt anything. And actually, these are, I guess I don't, oh. How was I running this? Maybe I was running this in WSL. There's overhead for the, just because it's not technically on the Windows drive. In order to get the image library to work. Actually, no, I never tried if sync worked with different metadata. Oh, yeah, I guess I should have kept the other thing open, huh? Well, that's in here now, and I had my notes open. All right, so a 1 day, I mean, for, let's see, images. You know, I think the default they were throwing out was like a 1 year. For data files, let's see, so we were using Manage caching optimized. Actually, that is a default 1 day, but a maximum of huge. We don't have any kind of version thing going on here to control for that, so 1 day should be fine. Wasn't one of the reports calling out a 1 day thing? Longer cache lifetime. So maybe they're expecting you to use the. I mean, these are kind of soft versioned. I guess I could put leaflet under like leaflet version blah 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 blah, so that if I updated it, then that would be new references. Well, actually, it's only saying 30, so it is just our initial image set here. And a couple of initial tile things. Oh, and we didn't seem to. That's what I was looking at. What did I look at? Or I just looked at network here. Do we have information about? Well, these actually this. Where's the size? Actually, size might be here. Yeah, 3 kilobytes. That would be candidate for compression. Accept encoding gfit deflate broadly. Content encoding gzip. Yep. I don't know if that was the compressed or uncompressed size. Oh, resource size 14. So that's a kind of a big CSS file. Oh. That's leaflet to I almost thought it was gradical. Yeah, this leaflet's a little bit big too. All right, so actually that seems to work. That's the other thing we should flip. So distributions. And this is a per behavior setting. I don't know if this is actually useful for all of them, but like a lot of these should be text files. Maybe the static images wouldn't actually be useful. Let's check where I was. Static. Okay, so that can roll out. That's our, let's see, sync. So actually, are you in the same folder? You are in one tech. You are, yes, you are. So there's two levels here. There's like the immediate update. You want to change this. So we're starting to change this to... Oh. There's lots of files here. One of the places we have to get to is here. So process... nope. I should be able to buffer... Oh, but this was over here. All right, so that's a 1-day max age. Not unreasonable for most things. Images, it's like I'd be a little nervous about doing a year because there was no versioning or anything. But those are not going to change very much. At least I think that's a 1 day. So 60 seconds times 60 minutes times 24 is indeed that. So what if we did a week? All right, so that will be the default. Oh, we got an extra dash in there. And objects would be more like the, was it 8600? I mean, technically updates only happen like once a day, but when they do, you want to get them. Although, let's see. Actually, I'll normally be able to lead the objects by about a day in terms of when we can update. All right. You don't need to exclude because you're going to be a singular file. They just public static objects. No, actually, you're back in static. Public static objects.json. Now, that was da. So you're going to have to go into static because it's just the last component. Exclude sprite. Exclude. See, that's sprite.star. There's technically the pretty objects JSON. It's a little different. Don't want to get that one. Now, these are still syncs, so they're just basically not going to do anything since the files are already there. Although I guess that could be, I could see if it tracks this header, and if it does nothing, then hey, we now know that that's, and it's not going to take too long. So we need. I guess I don't need to process this. It's if I process it and then run it, I need to be there. But S3 command works just fine here. Here it open one for this? No. So it's probably examining all the many objects. So it does take a little bit of time to check. And technically to just update the current properties. Oh, my local copy was a little bit different, which might actually mean my local copy is a little bit out of date. What's my normal update command? Node process download sprites. It's compiled against a different version. Oh, maybe I, do I have a different copy of this for running it? Oh no, I was probably doing this in the Docker. Because I did have a processor for that as well. Now, is this just the... It's just as process download. Are you based on... No, this is the base level one. This is not mine. Not necessarily making sprites. OneTech prereq, server. So I didn't actually set this up for like the custom branch or anything. Which is actually a little bit weird. Man, actually for the images it works. Not for the object data. Yeah, you're just prereqs. Second one for S3. I guess it's just a messing around with. And what's install? Oh, this was breaking out scripts to, in case Jason wanted to run his own. Huh. I thought maybe I was doing, maybe I made that generic after I did it to upload my version at one point. No. That still has to, but that's still going to operate off of either a local file or a Git of some sort. So it would have to be fully uploaded. Unless I had it running against a mounted volume of some sort of the OneTech. But that was doing a Git clone. So I'd swear I was doing, before I got the GitHub Actions going, I was doing this locally somehow. Wait, one tech public. Oh, there's probably a prepare step here. Also, I thought, no, that's prereqs S3. Processor Docker file. Source equals one tech public. Oh, no, these are just volumes we keep around in order to maintain data between runs. I wonder if I like reinstalled this back to Windows for local development. Or was I ever even doing that? All right, and are we fully up to date here? Oh, actually, we were messing around with some stuff. Oh, right, I forgot about you. Now, I didn't end up needing this data. Okay, note updates, nodal objects, sync is, oh. Source notable objects is new. Notes. What did I do to notes? I touched it apparently? Oh, that's an untried. I'm not tracking notes here. That was a new file. And I guess that could be a thing that you might want to. That's going into objects. Oh, nope, not master. Oh. I'm going to update the current stuff, and then, let's see. Oh, but I have to... My current files updated something, and it didn't put, which makes me think that it might be behind what the live one is. So do I just flip the local files back and forth? Or did I have a local copy of this? I did. Now you... Oh, is that what this is referencing for sync? No, this is relative. But I was probably just uploading from here. Wait, so what's your sync? You don't have a sync. Oh. Even here it says it's a different version. Huh. What's home JLove? Unfortunately, what does 6.4 and 8.3 mean? I mean, I guess that's what npm rebuild? Because this is the local Linux version. Make failed. Oh, that's right. It's actually ST. Yeah, we're using NVM because we have to use like a version 10 for this. Now, can this run or did rebuild mess it up? Yeah. So this might be a little bit behind here because I've been doing the online processing. I kind of didn't want to update the online one with a put to update things. But I guess if I'm only setting the attributes, then I look up the command that just sets the attributes. And then we try to fix the online processor to do these on future uploads. Do we still have that open? This is copying a few things to themselves. And this is with the AWS3 command. Modify add header. Recursive modify add header. Does our version have that? I don't know when I installed it. Let's see, where are the options? Commands. Modify object metadata. Okay, so if we had occasion to use this again, we might want this stuff. This is going to be a kind of a one-off command. I'm in workflows, though. And it does seem ordinary to do the command first. Modify. And I almost want to have this other stuff. So that's not going to be relevant. That is going to be relevant. Modify add header, sure. Exclude, we're just modifying this stuff. That's a recursive. This is, in fact, just a single file. Oh, this is not... This is not the entire thing. Oh, and we're excluding... Well, the pretty printed isn't a normally served file. So if we just said objects.json, it'd probably be fine. Oh, no, headers. Oops. Okay, it has to go through all of them. Oh, it had to go through a lot of versions. It's all a bit behind here. Yep, that is a very, very piece-by-piece process. Oh. Including all the JSON files and pretty. I could have almost just excluded pretty from that. The spawns are kind of artifacts. We're not downloading them directly. We'll also have the CloudFront delays in terms of getting that stuff to where we can evaluate the results. So, we're kind of setting up commands here. We've got our online processing script, which I guess you can always like and things. That might make me for kind of hairy commands, and it's already pretty much a hairy command. So there's our exclude sprite. Oop, what do we do there? Upload static objects. And then we said were 86,400. We do not have to exclude you. Well, I ended up on the other side of sprite. Oh well. Did I lose? Yes. Sync public static objects.json to bucket static. And that's one, it won't run until the versions change. So we have to kind of cross our fingers a little bit on that one. But we have some indication that the syntax is not wrong. Unless it like does a modify for nothing. Well, maybe this is something I could do from like the S3 console, and then it would all happen within AWS without having to do network round trips. It's CloudFront. There's actually still some older stuff I can probably clean up. I've been kind of waiting to do my local copies as well. Let's see, so that's theoretically accessible. Edit metadata. Copy of the object. All objects within the specified folders. Do we have some examples? System defined and whether you can update it. Last modified, content MD5. Amazon. Because this gives us that it's probably... I was wondering if we had an example of specifically... like a cache key or something syntax-wise. So... well, I guess I'll be able to look at these and see what they look like. Or alternately, we updated this stuff. So you were no cache. Are you part of the repo? Expiration rules, expiration, storage class, tags, metadata. So content type, wait, that says system defined? Maybe cache control is a common key. So it treats it as system defined. So it looks like it's key value standard syntax. Now, this is still going to be a potentially very expensive operation. Actually, data, well, data is currently being updated from somewhere else is the problem. So we kind of need to fix the places that are generating the data before you go tweak everything. I found something else, didn't I? Okay, so you edit metadata. Specified objects, no metadata is associated. Probably individual objects have the like a file type and things. And this data set is basically not changing, so it could actually be a... Aha! So that's what it means by because it's a known key. This probably could be like a 1 year. And there was a well-known value that people use for that, right? Different app. Yeah. For versioned assets, but this one's pretty much done changing. There might be like a task in process on this. Yeah, successfully edited. This seems to be going at a much better rate than S3 though for doing updates. Although this can't exclude particular files. Okay. So that, we haven't really tested the effect of that, but we think that's right. This might actually be a good time to clean up some of the really easy ones to fix. Now the pack riot in me doesn't necessarily want to completely throw some of these things out. All right, so that's the data. So we actually want to be back here. So the raw stuff, don't use anymore. There might, do we have another raw data set sitting around? Like the optimized images is not something, that was like an intermediate step where it got uploaded as something else. I kind of got a three panel problem here. We want to see what's uploaded and what's here. All right, so we've got Crucible, data, a file, images. These are in different order. Fabulous. But key... Oh, I've already done something with this here. And I did upload tests at some point. Okay, yeah, that's a very early thing. Probably like a test setup. I don't seem to even have that data, so... Or I have it someplace else. Okay, so delete its own button. Permanently delete. And there might yet be a lot of things in there. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. All right, images, KP test. The test is probably... It's kind of been a large scale thing, but pretty sure that's not going to be live data. AP test, ML test. Actually, KP and ML are themselves older versions of the data. Those are all under PL now. Still updating. And actually, it goes in alpha numeric order. So this is like 25%. Well, not 25%, because they only go up to 4,000 something. So that's like halfway through. Oh. I guess there wasn't that much stuff there. Those were test folders. All right, now these are older data. And I could go confirm that. Key place. Oh, yeah, actually these, yeah, because these are down here. And ML test. So even these URLs aren't all that useful anymore as references. This stuff is still cut. We are. This is another folder. And then those don't need to be here. Now these might be some largish ones. Oh, and this got uploaded to the wrong place at some point. Okay, so that has actually processed. We found the modify command instead. And I almost swear this is slower than just uploading stuff. But maybe the initial one went like that. All right, so that's a backup, which I guess backup stuff could be somewhere else as well. This is probably like during one of the map changeover things. So I wanted to make sure we had a copy of our data. So that's relevant, that's relevant. We still use tiles. There's still some zero size files that back in the new data set that I've never like written the script to find and then find locally and then go delete on S3 basically. To make that. Now we don't have a total number and there's a lot in there. Let's see, so the data, you see, yeah, this is being updated. This is probably a committed file. That's probably committed stuff. That's a generated data set. This is kind of a cache of the log files, which these really shouldn't change. So I probably could put something on there, but they're not going to be requested normally, so it's not going to be that big a deal. Static, we are working on. I have to actually take the updated, well, I guess the terminal we have for that project is currently working. We have to commit the updated GitHub action, push it up, and then hope it works when time comes to do stuff. So that'll take care of static. Tiles is archival at this point, so like Crucible, we could just kind of do that one with a long time on it. This stuff will be part of the code setup. Data comes out of one of our update steps. So everything that we're doing for new data and for like data uploads, I think is all coming out of the regular updater. Which ends up being, it's in this project, but I might have the library in the other system. Rather, this runs the top level process. So actually, some of it's monument data. So this might be going through a file system abstraction. Yeah, file system.write, which I'm pretty sure that's in family trees, which is still a little bit misnamed. It does a lot of other things, and it's just never been worth the maintenance of separating it yet. So when we write, we might have to, I might have to have a general hook into write to specify properties that are only going to apply to S3. Output object. Okay, so this should be the only reference to that. So I need the reference for the Ruby AWS SDK S3. S3 Ruby, and we want to set metadata. This looks like Ruby. Metadata. Okay, it takes parameters. Response.etag is ran, I guess. Full example call bucket object metadata author version. So if that's metadata, and that probably quoted content type value. Can we get just to confirm that, this is content type. Then content type after upload to S3, Ruby gem. Okay, metadata folders, content type. I don't know how that translates. That's like an incremental update. Head to plot the existing metadata. Yeah, so you have to copy it. So apparently there's a hook for lowercase content type to get translated. Change a content type. Well, this is content type, but I put in the wrong search term. I want cache control, and I don't know whether that has a special thing. Active endpoint cache max entries, max threads. Request syntax with placeholder values. Bucket name. Okay, so in this case, I think this is just like a placeholder because it's a hash format. But is this like an entire statement, or is this like max age? I guess it is a system-defined thing, so they could have a translation for it. Rather than a user. It's just a string. We already opened that. That's how to add it. No, cache control. This probably isn't Ruby specific. Yeah, it's S3. Copy. Yeah, yep, they're using cache control with just that value in the string. Okay, so it is transliterated into sort of Ruby-ish hash key syntax. Do we have a default for that? Oh, and this is metadata, blah, 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 blah. So I guess we could have like metadata empty as the default. What I need to know is I have to find every file system. Well, I guess it can be optional parameters and we can hunt them down. All right, how are you doing? You're getting close to 4,000. How are you doing? It has a lot of objects. All right, so you have a optional hash, which I believe was just metadata. So I'm usually calling this thing file system.write, PNG. I also have to look into how I do that. There's PNG file system.write PNG. So that's all. Okay, so that's there. There's file systems each do, that's file system group. So you have to be able to handle this. And I guess all the other file systems have to be able to at least handle that protocol. File system local. Are you going to complain about being unused? No. Okay. File.write should not be an issue here. File system, file system, file system, file system, file system, file system. That's going to be a file write, file system, a writer. So those are going to be file format things, which might have file systems internally. In some cases. File system. Writer is going to be a file format control. So it looks like file system.write is if that's going to cover pretty much everything. There's... Okay, so these are for local files, which we're not going to care about. Okay, so these are activity maps. It's like a thing it's one of those things where I might have to correct it, but it's normally going to be a one and done. I almost want to make this parameter not a literal metadata thing. But that so we can just save a little bit of the typing here. So this is cache control and max age. What do we want for activity maps? I mean, it's going to be for kind of all tile data. And actually, unless you're scrubbing around a lot, you're not even going to encounter, most of the time you're going to load up the current page. That's going to be new data. You download it. It's almost going to be as useful for CloudFront caching against multiple people. I wonder, would there be a good place? There's not currently a good place necessarily. There's no common module to file systems. Maybe we'll specify some kind of constant that could at least say that if we get it wrong, we get it wrong everywhere, and hopefully discover that right away. But a lot of the things that are using this aren't, directly importing file systems. They're getting this as an argument. Oh. Maybe the file system should have default metadata, and there are going to be a couple of cases where we have to override that, but those are going to tend to be exceptions. Like all of these PNGs are just going to be default. So I might need to rethink this a little bit. I might need to... Should that actually be like the file system defines paths that should have different metadata to really kind of pull that concern out? See, right now you can initialize with the bucket. I guess we could make it in a general metadata. That would make it only apply to this type. Probably has to be default. We're going to need some way to override certain files. Handling it completely here sounds kind of nice. I would almost want like a sub-object, because that's my question is, it's like, okay, if we're calculating paths, what's that path? You have to be path within the file system, pretty much. You might be able to get away with the exact equals. You need to be the key index files. So metadata. So I think it's going to be like hash.merge. And that's Ruby 3, which is a major version. If the block is given, actually the duplicate keys are the values from each other hash successfully. So that's going to say default metadata dot merge. Metadata will let you override that if necessary. So, but that requires a different file system instance for every type. Right now I'm kind of passing one instance around. Maybe I need like a thing to update the default metadata. Well, it's a reader, but it could be a mutable object. All right, so but we still want to be looking for where are we writing. So PNGs. So act PNG is going to kind of calculate and write. It gets used here. This is in a single method, but this is with a file system, output activity map. So this is the trick with making this kind of a default thing, and that this is a little bit of a shared object. It is serial processing. Oh, although we create these things up front, so we kind of have to. You're not a web file, so you don't matter as much. I would almost want to say like no cache on some of these things. Maybe I have to have like a cache control file that gets used by anything that's going to do that, so we have names for things. And then and then there is an index file for all of these, but that should really last as long as the tiles as well. So this is like, I almost need a file system wrapper that adds that attribute. Or it's like a file system with metadata, which for you, what does that look like? Well, it would really only work for this because it has to track the data. Yeah, so maybe it doesn't work as a blanket thing. I know, I guess my outer process could be creating file systems for every subgroup, but then you also have, in some cases, indexes and other files. I'm starting to like that less. So we've got, I mean, in generally, this is kind of what we want it to be. Do I have one of my references up? Yeah, cache control, no cache. We've got the types of values we tend to use are like 1 hour. Max age, that was 8600, I believe. We've got, and maybe you eventually want to put something else in here that's like calculate, you know, this many days or something. 1 day was 86,400. 1 week. Is that still up on here? I believe that's 1 week. And 1 year. We used that for our other little sample thing, but we are currently... well, that's in our other document. And I guess for completeness, we could have 1 month. Is that 4 weeks? Is it 31 days? 86,400. Is it 30 days? Oh, we've got this on all of them. Okay, good. So wherever we're dealing with that, we can hopefully, as long as, oh, I copied you, which means you're right. Hopefully I didn't, I might have to recheck some of my other settings on some of these. What about... Okay, you're an equals. This is... Okay, that's for the code. What about... equals? Equals. Okay, so these are all right. All right, so where are we doing this? We're doing down in Act PNG, which maybe I should be passing into here. Because the real difference I was seeing is we did output activity map. And it's like this thing is setting up, you know, right tiles, right index. But we are setting up the writers with a file system. And if we have any way to update options at a file system interface level, we have to make sure everything supports that. Things are clean abstractions until you have to do something else. Or do we treat this as an attribute of well, I can't quite treat it as an attribute of file types because I've been using some of the tile data formats for some of the object indexing stuff. Like, maybe those particular files won't actually have any different lifetime. There's there's the arc list, which is going to be different, but that's written directly. there's ID index. Yeah, so that's for the search. We're just going to have a certain lifetime. Some of these are older formats that have just kind of been kept around for archival purposes. Might not even really need to update them. But there are potentially different uses for this. I guess I'm just a little bit nervous that if I go setting options on these and then leave them, we'll end up getting some other file kind of caught in it. What's that? The color is actually not good in the dark mode here. That's the map log archive, which should generally be a one-off. And then scripts are just not even relevant here. Those are pretty much only doing local file system stuff. Yeah, not you. Okay, you are finally done. And we just kind of hope this is right. Maybe I could force a difference to make it run. Let's see, and that is this terminal. So there's my local script. There was local script. The only thing is the action itself. And I think that task is actually even turned off because it was a timed thing. Actually, did I turn this one off? I did not turn this one off. I should probably put this in, as long as we're at it, let it be enabled in, no commit. Enabled but not scheduled. An unexpected error occurred with no information. Well, I can leave that for a little while. Let's see. So that is one tech. So actions, you are disabled. Now that it's not scheduled, it's not really going to hurt anything to have it enabled. It might try to run once. It should find it doesn't have to do anything. Actually, do I have to add code push to you? Well, I don't normally run this. I don't normally update this. It's purely data, but it's manual for now. Well, if I had an error and we canceled, there should still be something there. The details below. Well, there are no details below. Oh. No, it really errored out. It like crashed the page. Let's see. We were deleting... I forget. Well, I know that this is supposed to be in here, so that was just an oopsie. Let's see. I mean, it's really both of... Oh, no. Oh, I guess we got rid of PL, and we must have been in the middle of doing this one. Okay. Okay, that's kind of done. How do we... And I guess the complete way to do this is just to specify it everywhere. Just kind of a pain. Oh, right, because the rights are down here, and that makes the file type system in control of the lifetime of whatever it's writing. So activity maps are sure. Arc list. That's only one thing. ID index. Okay, defined. This is final placements. This is search indexing. Or we only have 3 file systems right now, so having a little... It would only be 3 places to update if I wanted to say file system with metadata. At which point would we even have a default? Well, the file system would. It just wouldn't necessarily be an initializer argument? I guess it could be. And I don't want to create new clients too often, but there's a few of them won't hurt. Probably. The point override might still be useful if we actually are just running a single file. Then, file system local, this is a no-op. And file system group, which I don't use very often, but I sometimes use it for parallel operations. Def with metadata. This actually gets a little bit annoying because it's basically file system group dot new with file systems dot map fs dot with metadata. So that is a new instance every time. But with that, so this is act PNG. It's used only once. But we can say for the images, we want to do these with, and you didn't otherwise have a direct access to file system. And cache control. So tile. I'm still nervous to do 1 year, but they're mostly just going to sit around. Maybe even 1 month. Okay, syntactically correct. You are also passing something off, passing the file system off to a little sub thing. So we do still have a bit of stuff here that could be typed wrong. All right, so there's ActMap, there's ArcList. Which gets used from seed break. So you return an ArcList, and then ArcList does a save. So that's probably from like a map process type of thing. Seeds. No, that's seed.save. Maybe seed break returns an ArcList? Process, oh, yeah, return arcs. So this is going to have to happen in both places. And this is going to be a relatively short cycle one. Probably couldn't do, I think I've been doing these kinds of things as like an hour. Right, if I did put this into ArcList, then everybody would use it. There's that. It is an annoying gem name. Okay, so that's you. There's the ID index, which you are used from two places. They're well within the scope of what we're doing here. Oop. So ID indexes. And for that matter, the search data. Things that might be subject to correction, but probably not. All right, ID index, key plane. Once again, a data format, really where you get called, and you're actually going to get called as this. Oh, that was, oh, right. What was it? Key Y, X, no. Key value. So defining them, so we have a loader. You shouldn't care about loader. All right, so for actual tiles, okay. Subject to correction in case of mistakes. But those thankfully don't occur very often. The index is a tile index. That's only going to read, so that's fine. That's the list of tiles. That's going to have the same expiry. Then this is, okay, yep, that's basically being used for a very similar purpose. And then ID index is also set there. And then object search index, ended up using this for notable objects, which I guess is a thing we could revise. And then this is ID index, I guess we haven't gotten to yet. So if search stuff is on that time scale. Log value XYT first, probably going to be one of the only places using that. All right, key value. Log diff was an intermediate format. Log value. Right tiles did not get updated. Oop, okay, we lost our... Oh, I need to check for cache control header. can do that at the end. So log value, map log list. Is a file system right? Is map log list a file format? In map process. Yes, part of that process. So it's another case where if I did do it in the file format, then both of the places that use it would get that update. This is going to be probably updated, well, this I don't think is one that gets used by the web much. It really shouldn't be. But it's typically going to update daily. Output activity map has its own checkpoint. Now these are like processed file system.read. Okay, yeah. These are not necessarily web accessible files. They're probably, this is gonna be like no cache. That would be their usage pattern. If we get it, we want to know exactly what it is. Okay, I already got that. You're a checkpoint again, so you are spans. Oop, I keep putting something in there and I can't use it. Cache control. And I guess spans we had technically been doing as a 1 hour thing. And this isn't doing well. We have been doing fetches. This is using the S3 API, which is not necessarily the HTTP API. But that would be different than what our what CloudFront's doing. I think the S3 API would always get it. And that's only for HTTP. Nope. And then these are the backend data files, which if we get them, we probably want to be up to date. Okay, I got you. Oh, unexpected identifier somewhere. With metadata. So where were we? Got you. You're your checkpoint of the processed, so we just put a parenthesis in. I mean, these files could technically be with, probably even without the cache control things. I mean, like spans have been working pretty well without it. You're a checkpoint of processed. Not that worked. This is a tile index. Tile index we might want to handle up at a higher level. And okay, we got that one. We got that one. We did not. This is the read. It doesn't matter. And we're back to definition, so that's good. And then we have map process itself, which is the map log archive paths. These really should, unless you have to update an error, should basically never change. And then the rest of this is local stuff in my ad hoc scripts. All right, so did we get all of the file imports we need? Okay, that one's good. That is the file itself. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. That one is not good. Oop, wrong cache control. That one's good. 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 Oop. That one's not good. That is map process, which ended up doing it. And there's all the file system stuff. And that's all of those. So I don't, well, all the syntax of those will get checked if I'm uploading locally. So I might want to do that on local processing today. Then we push this update online. Or else I could update my update locally. I don't have to put the real one on pause. And see if that looks good for online processing. And then once we're doing new data correctly, we can, well, the bulk upload from the S3 console, maybe there was an option to search for objects in there. Okay, so we have now completed cleaning up some of that old data. What else? So dupe, that's the files in a different place. Images, overlays, or code. That's where pretty much everything is now. Static tiles. All right, so the tiles are semi-archival. So you could be like the 1 year. And this is going to be, this is another very large piece of data. Also very infrequently accessed, so it's not a huge deal, but we kind of have to wait until we get online data updates going for everything else. All right, so, did this touch the monument stuff? Actually, monuments are mostly, these are mostly done at the data server, not even processed directly in there, which means that I actually have to commit this and update. Oh no, it is referencing live. Just if there's different branches, it has issues. Did I already open this somewhere? don't think so. So map logs, I think we only mostly avoided. Map process. Cache can, oh. Okay, yeah, for the archiving process. File system.write. Okay, so there's the list. Okay, the other one we do here directly. And we said that these, what did we say we were doing for these? 1 year? All right, do you have any others? Oh, are you in a big data directory? Well, there might be like the devlog and stuff. Servers.json. This is in lives. This changes daily, so this might be like a 1 hour thing. And it doesn't change too significantly. Map logs, so we got you for the archives, and then monuments are also maybe a couple times during the day potentially, but sometimes never. All right, so that's all stuff that kind of needs to get syntax checked, and then we have to run it and see if the attributes actually got updated. I mean, I guess for monuments or something, I might be able to force it to test the attributes. You are predictably going on for a very, very long time. This might be a multi-day project. Let's see. Actually, I have to get this going to get data going, because that is a small data set, but it could be a potentially anytime updated one. All right, so static, we theoretically updated. Now, that does have some time in may have some time in CloudFront as well. And that CloudFront for images might be set to a longish time. See, the title they were not actually going to request here. I hope that was just a glitch. So it is not complaining. Oh, no, here's the sprites. Well, it's saying 7 days. So I guess for them, long cache lifetime is 1 year. It is highlighting the ones that are less, but still. I would have to include some sort of like data version number in the sprite images themselves to get a longer cache time. Now, secondly, this might be objects.json. Is not giving us the size information. Because that actually broke something. And of course, we discovered this at the very end. Oh, did I? I did do a local upload. Okay. Let's see. What is this in the Windows world? I don't know. Do we have a runnable S3 command from here? No. So home is going to be here. If we have a better window for this. So this is always going to be producing things without object sizes. I don't know how to get the path to the WS. I mean, I guess I could just look that up, but it might still be like a cross-process thing. Of course, I guess we're going to copy it cross-process anyway. All right, so I can get the path to this. Mount D. So you're going to be like copy -r public static to Mount D. Okay. That seems to be doing something. Now, the trick is we've got a sync script that's not set up for that directory structure. Oh, did I? Maybe I had this in my OneLife stuff. OneLife Docker. No, nothing's jumping out. Build server, client, whole dev, package server. No. All right, so I've got a static. The script that I have in here is set up. Oh, we're still got it open. To do ... public static. So actually, maybe the easiest way. And I need to be in here. The regular shell, or our S3 command is. Oh. Not an existing file or directory. Oh, no, I put this in the wrong place. Oh, no, one-tech data process sounds right. Did I put I put... Wrong way. Strike that, reverse it. And there's our objects.json file, which it might still be cached wrong for a little bit. There's one map. Actually, I just closed that other one, didn't I? Yeah, it'll be cached wrong for a little bit. And that's probably like a 1 hour time, but if we disable cache, then it should be back to normal. And really, we shouldn't be serving those big images, but getting our image build process to produce different size sprites, and then maybe we want to sprite sheet them, and because these are smaller, that's a whole other animal. All right, so you probably have it too. Efficient cache policy. What do you consider efficient? They do say specifically this time. Yeah, so you have to get into... Well, I mean, the sprite images are theoretically hashable. They have content. But then I'd need a document to tell me what the hashes are instead of just doing sprite number. Sample max age. Cache hit probability. Compute cache lifetime. Cache lifetime in seconds. Cache hit probability. Where does it decide that it's a score issue? Total wasted bytes. Does the lifetime go into cache lifetime? Go into like probability or something? Yeah, I see that sorting the list. Where does it say that something is a... Already causes 50. Oh, okay. Cache hit probability is based on the resource age. Oh, maybe this requires knowing the actual age, and these are all just updated trying to fix this. $12 because of 50% of cases, 24 hours causes 50% of cases, 24 hour causes 10% more. I'm not quite sure how they translate this thing. This looks like hours. Maybe that means, oh, deciles. So this is 50%, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, or maybe it's like 90 and 100. Oh, actually, that's 12. One for overflow. Oh, maybe it's saying that the cache max age is significantly less than the actual age. Hmm. Now, they would have been updated much more frequently if we were in... Well, actually, the images might not, but we do updates more frequently when there's stuff going on. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a big project, too, to have some sort of sprite index that could deal with like a hashed name or something. Now we do have ATTL now, which in theory helps more. And last time we did this, well, we don't have we have to regenerate this one. Oh, all our data files, which is a long-term progress to update a bunch of things and then get the online updates going and then update all of the archives. Which the archives aren't going to get hit as much, so we're a little bit better off there. So you're still crunching. Maybe you'll crash again. I am way overdue for lunch, though. So I'll be back this afternoon to play the game. Let's see. Thanks to the support from my subscribers. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. Let's see. Let me check. Yeah, huh. Rainy must have gotten busy. Let's see. So we've got... Yeah, I think I did the witness sometime recently. It's puzzling. I might be kind of running out of people that are coding at this time. Well, if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, CM Griffin he's working on, I think he's just starting up, he's working on a statically hosted feature flag server, which actually sounds kind of interesting. He has a little bit of a different manner than me. He's a little bit more the free speaking and chill out. But he does some interesting stuff, and he's kind of an interesting guy. So if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.